Simmons and I have been doing these gatherings during the lunch hour the past year. Yeah, crazy that it's been a year. And we'll keep at them. Like I feel like it's been a really nice way to just connect with advocates around the region and hear what's going on in your community and give you all updates on some regional statewide work that we're doing. Yeah, if you have any questions, it's a place to ask those questions, and we can, as a group, someone might have some ideas or can connect you to the right person who has more information. So so in case you haven't been to one of these gatherings before, that's what we've been up to. But just to start us off, I'll just so we know who's here, I'll just read your name, and then if you can just introduce yourself and let us know what community you're from, so we all know who's here. So I'll start. I'm Maggie Sherwinski, advocacy manager at Active Trans, and I live in Chicago, though I grew up in the suburbs in Michigan. But Dave, I'll pass it over to you.
Sure. Dave Simmons, executive director with Riot, Illinois, and I'm out in Elk Grove Village. It's right out by O'Hare.
Great. And Eberhard?
I'm Eberhard Wright. I'm the president of McHenry County Bicycle Advocates. I live in Crystal Lake, and we're just on our way back from Wisconsin from 10 miles of cross-country skiing. It's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Nice.
It doesn't get any better.
Sounds what a wonderful way to spend your weekend. Charlie?
Hi, I'm Charlie Sachs. I'm in Skokie. I haven't been out cross-country skiing. Actually, I've just been recovering from hip replacement surgery the last few weeks, so I have not been out. Looking forward to getting back out and going, though.
Yeah. Bill?
Hi, I'm Bill Cholberg from Downers Grove. I was going to tell you, Maggie, that I grew up in the suburbs too.
Oh.
But not in Michigan.
No. Ralph?
I live in Palatine. I'm part of the Bike Palatine Club. And for the last 6 months, I've been the suburban biking columnist for the Daily Herald.
Chris?
Hi guys, Chris Valdez, born and raised Chicago. Now I'm a suburbanite, and I'm in Brookfield, run Cycle Brookfield. We're trying to increase the visibility for bikes and safety here in Brookfield and get everyone to that zoo nice and safe. So thanks everyone for, collaborating. I can't wait to hear what everyone else is up to.
Laurel?
Yes, I'm Laurel Salvador. My husband and I share the Zoom. So anyway, I'm on the Wheaton Bicycle Commission. We're now a commission. We used to be a committee, and we've gotten a lot more response from the city. So we are approaching getting a bicycle friendly designation. So it's going to take us a while, but that's our goal.
Great. Michael?
Hello. My name is Michael Kilcullen, and I'm down in Champaign-Urbana at U of I, and I'm a transport consultant now after a career working at Amtrak and Metro and Via Rail Canada. And I'm working on a regional plan based on like the 5 central Illinois, Champaign, Decatur, Springfield, Peoria, Bloomington, Normal, but how we have to have anchors to Joliet, Homewood, Alton, to connect, to Indianapolis and beyond. So working on maps and ideas, but we haven't published yet.
Cool, thanks. Let's see who, Mikey.
Hi, I'm Mikey Swire. I live in Streamwood. I'm a member of Bike Palatine Club and Friends of Cycling Elk Grove.
Great. Patrick?
Hey everyone, Patrick Smith. I'm in Barrington with Riot, Illinois, and on the local Barrington Bike Commission.
Great. Ben?
Ben Harris in Skokie, a longtime member of ATA. And my picture represents an apple cider press, if you were kind of wondering there. and haven't been cross-country skiing, but been doing a little snowshoeing. And saw cyclists out today. I went to the lake, so all is good.
Miss Lucas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dolores Lucas from the Riverdale community area, community number 54. And I represent We Keep You Rolling Bike and Wellness Group.
Welcome. Fatima.
Hey, well,
Oh, you're muted.
okay, unmute me.
There you are.
All right. Hey, Miss Lucas.
Hey, Fatima.
I'm Miss Fatima Alnerd Harris, a native of Riverdale Community 54, 16 years in the village of Riverdale. Now I'm in Markham, so I'm representing We Keep You Rolling and advocating for the Little Calumet River, CalSag, and all the advocates out there, you know. So I'm an advocate. So the community of Riverdale.
Great.
That's really what I'm.
Thank you for your service, Fatima.
Yeah. Actually, do you think, would you two
It's been a great program. I mean, my Wi-Fi is getting crazy, so I apologize if I'm, you know, blanking in and out. But this has been a great week, Maggie. Everybody else, the last presenter, Mr. Kerr, and the gentleman in what is in Springfield? No, in Carbondale, Michael, my new friend. So it's been great, Miss Lucas. I'm glad you're on.
Great.
Right.
Thanks for joining. Champaign. He's in Champaign.
Champaign.
Well, so I guess normally when we have these calls, we have Dave kick things off, giving us some Ride to Illinois updates, and then I'll give you whatever updates Active Trans has, and then we'll open it up to all of you. So Dave, do you want to let us know what's happening?
Yeah, and actually, so I thought instead of like focus on what's happening, I thought like, you know, in the spirit of the week and, you know, trying to get everybody excited and energized. I know advocacy can be draining at times because there's not always, you know, obvious wins and progress. So I just jotted a few things down that I thought, you know, we could all take as advice for 2021 and kind of forging ahead. So in no particular order, connecting with elected officials and municipal staff, right? As plans are developed, as priorities are, you know, chosen, there needs to be an established relationship with those folks. So, you know, reach out to your elected officials and the folks who work in your community. You're probably all familiar with our bike safety quiz, so that now's a great time to take it again and share that resource too. You know, we'd love to get, I think we're at about 125,000 sessions. Let's keep that number, you know, moving up faster and faster. Many of you know the National Bike Summit is coming up. I know some of you are registered to attend, so that's another opportunity. Elizabeth Adamczyk and I are the Illinois State coordinators, and so I think we have 7 or 8 meetings set up with, we don't have either of the senators yet. And I should say League of American Bicyclists is doing all the coordination with meetings, but so we got an update yesterday. I think it's 7 or 8 of our House representatives. So that's great. Hopefully we can get a few more before Lobby Day on March 3rd.
Dave, do you know how many people from Illinois are participating?
We are the 3rd highest state. California has 56. And this, I should say, this is just for Lobby Day. So it's 56 California, 27 Texas, Illinois 25. So yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's fantastic.
And I don't know as far as just overall registrations. There'll be obviously more than that.
Yeah, it's just cool. It's a cool opportunity that it's on Zoom this year. Because I did it, when did it, maybe 3 years ago, where I went to DC to do the Lobby Day. And it was a really cool experience, but it's a lot of time, a big time commitment to do something like that. So the fact that it's on Zoom, I think there were 8 of us total. So it's great to hear there's 25 this year.
Yeah, we're going to gang up on the elected officials. One of the programs we're working on, and again, some folks on this call know about it, Patrick and Chris and Eberhard, our regional action teams. Maggie, I owe you an update about our Northeast region. So we're just, it's just another opportunity to share ideas, maybe partner up with some folks. So, and it's our first volunteer initiative, so it's pretty exciting. Commit to biking, walking, and transit, right? As advocates, we need to walk the walk and talk the talk. So I know it's maybe not ideal for some of that right now, but especially once vaccinations are out there and it's safer. I miss riding transit and going into the city or going out to White Sox games. Sorry for all the Cubs fans on the call, but we need to support those ways of getting around. So that's going to be especially challenging this year. Well, I should say especially for transit. I know there's lots of challenges there, lots of work to be done. So let's all just commit to some non-motorized ways of getting around or transit. Supporting local bike shops. So I know you've heard over the course of these sessions and other sessions that last year was a boom for a lot of shops, not all shops. And yeah, you might pay a little bit more, but you're supporting a local business. So definitely support those shops and get to know the folks that work there. It is important. I think we have 203 shops in Illinois right now. So we certainly don't want to dip below 200. There have been a few closings recently, but yeah, support those, not only shops, but the businesses, the businesses that support active trans and the businesses that support Ride Illinois. Let's show them a little love. The Cook County Bike Plan, right? That's a huge opportunity. And I know Bennett gave a nice overview. Bennett, I mean, the guy's enthusiasm is second to none, right?
Yeah.
So it's a potentially like a once in a decade opportunity.
Yeah.
So share that. There's opportunities to provide input. Share that link around. Let's make sure that we're pushing the envelope. We're not going to get everything, right, that we ask for. We got to push that envelope and kind of move things in the right direction. And then, so Michael was talking about regional plans, and there's local plans, there's complete streets policies, there's so many different documents and plans, right? Spend a little time familiarizing yourself with them. And that, I think, kind of, to me, runs parallel to getting to know your elected officials and municipal staff, right? So you kind of know what's in there. So when opportunities pop up, it's not just kind of on a whim or the ask is coming out of left field. Just want to be familiar with ahead of time. And then one of the things Ride Illinois is working to do is build community around bikes. And we have a fun little graphic. I'll see if I can find it and I'll share a link. But the idea is people who ride bikes, it's typically it's a fun, welcoming, not all, but fun, welcoming, kind of peaceful way to get around. And we're talking like all shapes, sizes, colors, genders, right? Let's build around that idea. And that transcends community, boundaries should transcend racial boundaries, and let's just be embracing of all folks who ride bikes. So it's kind of a soft approach, and there's not like maybe any hard and fast goals, but just be welcoming to people who are out on their bikes. And again, we'll build some community around that. And then lastly, support active trans. I mean, the work that Maggie has done, I'm sure, Maggie, you're going to sleep pretty well tonight, right? Support active trans, support Ride Illinois, as much as possible. Support those local organizations, the ones you're all part of, right? We want to see those organizations grow and be impactful. And then collectively, we're talking a big area. We have some wins in numerous communities. So collectively, that adds up to quite an impact. So yeah, with that, Maggie, I'll turn it over to you. And I just want to thank you for everything you've done for this week, everything you've done over the years, going back to when meeting in Schaumburg at the bike walk every town session. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate the knowledge you share with me and with others. So I don't know if we can really give a round of applause on Zoom, but
Aw.
well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done.
Thank you,
Thanks for the
Dave. And
opportunity to share.
yeah, I appreciate it. And it was honestly like it was a super fun week to organize, and I'm so thankful for all of you to be a part of it. And Dave has been an amazing partner through the years too. And I don't know if you got to see Amy and Dave speak. They had a session on, was it Wednesday morning? It was a coffee talk, and I loved that session. It was like such a nice. It was just fun to listen to their conversation, and it was a lot about how our organizations work together and support each other. And really like, and I feel like this community, the of suburban advocates, statewide advocates, like I love seeing how everyone is there to help each other and try to get the word out about walking, biking, and transit, and make things it'll make things better for all of us.
And I think if I could add to that, Maggie, I think the cool, really not cool is such a like teenager word. The the trait that stands out to me, for those of you that I know, and of course some I don't, and Dolores, I promise I'm getting down to see you this year since it fell through last year, but you're not in this for you, right? Kind of as an advocate, you are trying to make things better for others. And so it's a very selfless and really respected approach that you all take. So thank you for doing that. And for those of you I don't know, I hope to meet you all this year. So.
Sometimes I will say, like, you get your ideas because you actually do need this, because right now I might be on the existing road and God, I wish I was over on a path. Like, well, you know what? I might just have to get it created myself. So I think a lot of times it's not, it is slightly selfish, but it is for the better good, because, but you can, but a lot of times you go to council meetings and then you say, well, I blah, 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 as part of we, but then it's like, because you do have the actual experience, and that gives you credibility, that rather than I've seen like airport studies are being done by consultants that live like 3 days away, and they don't know that neighborhood, and then when they write about our Champaign airport but they're in Oregon, and you can tell they never visited. So I think it gives more credibility when we're actually trying to use these things and we're seeing spots, because we can also help others while we do get what we want.
Sure. Well, good point, Michael. Good point.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if I have any updates. So just so you know, for like this week, I am planning on putting all of the recordings online, because I know not everyone got a chance to attend all of them, and they were all really fantastic. Like, I feel like you should watch everyone. Ralph spoke, Chris spoke, Eberhard spoke, and all really inspiring sessions to watch. And I'm planning on, I'm gonna listen to all of them again, and I want to have a roundup of all of the advice people shared, because there was a lot of really good tips and suggestions on how people have been successful in their community. So I'm gonna try to round it up for all of you. And share it out. And then also just the county talks I thought were really interesting to hear about the projects going on in all the counties, and how the counties, I think Eberhard, you were often asking, like, are you checking in with your neighbors, making sure that there's connections between the counties? And it seems like that is happening, but I think that's good to remind our county and municipal staff to work, think regionally, think like, let's create a network for everyone. But yeah, I learned a lot, and hopefully we'll get those recordings online for all of you, so you can miss or watch anything you might have missed. And really, I don't have too many updates other than next week we're doing this bicycle film fest. So it's 90 minutes, a series of short films. I think it should be really fun. The events team at Active Trans is organizing it, so we're the host. And there is a cost, but it's a sliding scale cost. I think you can get a $10 ticket for getting access to that 90-minute film series. But that's going on for, I think, 2 weeks. So starting February 24th, which is Thursday, I believe. Not exactly sure. And then it's Active Trans's birthday on March 25th. So we're having a little e-bash celebration. And that's free. It's in the evening at 6. So you're all invited. And then the other thing is we just have an action alert out there right now about transit, about making sure transit is getting federal funding, because we really need to keep transit running. I've been trying to bring that up in a lot of sessions this week, but I'll put it in the chat again, just in case you haven't taken action, or in case you think of someone you can share it with, because we really want to try to get more, we want to make sure transit supported.
And I also add motor coach carriers for intercity, because they got no money back in the spring. And, we see Greyhound and Burlington Trailways and others have reduced frequencies or rerouted. And again, people won't use local transit if they're not making connections to and from Greyhound and Amtrak and airports, because they'll buy a car to do the long distance and then they'll just start using the car all the time.
Right.
So anything that supports the intercity transport also will support local transit. And remember, just motor carriers got nothing so far special, whereas airlines and Amtrak did.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that.
One thing, Maggie, too, kind of along those lines, Active Trans is spearheading, it's currently House Bill 270, right, to eliminate the local match. There's a call with a Illinois House Representative, Christopher Belt, who's down by the St. Louis area, and we're speaking with him on Tuesday just to kind of test the waters, right, to see if he's willing to if he'd sign on, or what kind of support that has huge potential. So it's really early on, but I think it's a great example of how our organizations work together.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll be keeping folks posted on that.
Oh yeah, but this is kind of one that will be similar to, what was it, 2 years ago when I feel like I was constantly emailing people about the Capitol bill funding having $50 million for walking and biking, and then money for transit also. I feel like I was probably irritating people at a point because I was sending so many emails, but this will be another big ask if we get a bill going, to really get the word out and get people taking action on that. And it will make it will have a big impact, because right now, communities, if a state road is being repaved, the state pays for the road, but if there's going to be any pedestrian bicycle facilities, the local community has to pay 20%, and often the local community just can't afford that. And it's frustrating that that local communities are required to pay for facilities on a state road. So we're trying to get rid of that. So we'll keep you updated for sure.
And for what it's worth, sorry, one other thing on legislation. From our regional action team, the first couple of meetings, there's strong interest in at least seeing, strategizing a bit. And I've talked to Amy and Kyle a little bit about this too, but pursuing a stop as yield legislation, the Idaho stop, which it's way too premature to be at all excited about that. More and more states are moving in that direction, Virginia being the latest. And so to me, the question is, do we want to be on the kind of forefront of that legislation, or do we want to wait years and years until it just kind of happens? And I'd rather we kind of push the envelope now. So
yeah, cool. I just saw in the chat, Ms. Lucas, you were mentioning you guys have a event coming up July 31st. Would you like to share about that event, and also just about We Keep You Rolling? if you're around, or Fatima. Well, when you are available, please.
So,
Oh, there you are.
if you're not a teenager, you just type in 773-344 and say like, I'm interested, or.
I stepped away. This is Miss Lucas. Were you calling on me
Oh,
for
yes.
something? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I was wondering if you could share about, like, can you tell us about We Keep You Rolling and the event you have coming up this summer?
Yes, of course. We Keep You Rolling is a community biking group where we reach community residents of all ages. You know, the ones that are learning how to ride, all the way to the ones that are afraid to ride when they are 75. So in April, I'll be turning 65 to my surprise. Haha, very funny. So I am trying to engage more with the youth, the teenagers, to educate them about safe cycling and how to cycle in traffic. I live in a community where we're sort of secluded, so we are happy to bike within the community, and people are doing that. But when we want to do an extended bike ride, like going to Major Taylor Trail or the Cal Sag Trail, we have to learn how to ride in traffic. And we are surrounded by state routes, that being Indiana Avenue and 130th Street. Traffic is very fast, it's like a highway, and people are afraid. So I'm put to the task to teach them how to cycle safer and in groups. And in doing so, I have an annual bike ride in which we slowly ride and tour within the community. We're in the Calumet region, very close to the little Calumet River. So we ride around and tour and show residents where some of our highlights are in the community. Some people don't even know we're very close to the Bubian Woods Forest Preserve. So that's one stop that we always make. And to extend the bike ride, we tacked on a wellness pop-up for those that don't get up early enough to ride the bikes. And for those not interested in riding, we still engage with them in the afternoon with wellness information tables. And I have been successful with this group and growing each and every year because I do a lot of collaboration. It's impossible for me to do what I do by myself. So I have an extended list of partners. And the main one on the list is Active Trans, the Forest Preserve, Chicago Park District, Friends of the Park, et cetera, et cetera. Ride Illinois, whoever wants to be supportive, we welcome them. And every year it gets bigger and better. And I'm proud that we're in our 6th year.
Great, thank you for that overview. And actually, Ralph was wondering, can we give your email? Can we share your email address?
Okay,
People can get
no
in touch with you.
problem.
All right.
Okay. Also, We Keep You Rolling is expanding our bike fleet. We got a chance to participate in a block powered pilot program over the summer. And we got introduced to the e-cargo bikes. And boy, is that a dream. I also have arthritis in both of my knees, so I'm struggling pedaling. So we are riding and increasing our fleet to include electric bikes. And I love them. I don't think I'm going to revert to a regular bike for a while, but We Keep You Rolling has acquired 2 turn e-cargo bikes on loaner over the summer. And now we are put to the task that we have to purchase them at a discounted price. So we also have a GoFundMe page going on to pay for those bikes. But I said all that to say, We Keep You Rolling also works with the Divvy bike expansion to the far south side. And those bikes that have been deployed are electric bikes. So we're put to the task to teach our residents how to ride the e-bikes and how to apply for what they call Divvy for Everyone. That's a discounted Divvy program for low income people of color like my community. So we've got our business cut out for us. We're planning for a great summer, even though we're in this COVID condition. But because we have the pleasure of this bike expansion and the Divvy bikes that are on the ground right now in the community, we still need to learn how to use them and ride safely. And that's where We Keep You Rolling and all of my partners have assisted in getting the word out. And our sixth annual bike ride is July the 31st until the governor says different. So that's what we're projecting for. And what else can I tell you? It's a beautiful day in Chicago right now, but I'm not bringing the bike out anytime soon.
A lot of stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you for the updates, and Dave linked your GoFundMe page in the chat.
Hey,
So
he certainly did. Thanks, Dave. Good looking out.
And so we'll share that. When I send out an email to this group, I'll make sure to include that link. And if any of you can share that to help support We Keep You Rolling.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have we gotten to the part where you wanted to talk about some of the action items or things we wanted some help with?
We haven't, but like if there is something that you want to share, go ahead.
Most certainly. I'm so excited that the community is so close to the CalSAG Trail. But what's unfortunate is we're so close, but we haven't made any preparation to connect. And I'm in Riverdale community number 54. And one of our border streets is 134th Street. And I have learned that there is a CalSAG mile marker at 138th in Indiana. It's so close to us. So I need help connecting to the people that be to help design, propose some type of a bike lane or protected bike lane from our community to connect to the CalSAG Trail. I'm also a little bit behind the time in terms of what was done to design and deploy the CalSAG Trail, but I'm so dismayed that it's been deployed, but it has not included my community. So at this late stage, I'm trying to get in where we fit in and hope that we get some help where we can connect to this bike trail called the CalSAG Trail. That's one of my issues. It's only 4 to 6 blocks from our community, but we don't have a connection to it. Another concern is that we connect to the Major Taylor bike trail. It's close to my neighborhood also, about 10 blocks. And I have been working with Chicago Department of Transportation to work out a side path. Active Trans, Julia, and all the others that be have helped me tweak that idea for this side path, but it's a huge, big project. And I'm going to need to just keep following up and putting some fire under CDOT to get it started. And if I could get a representative to just help me encourage them more, we could work on getting that West 130th Street side path designed. Also, in the past, my street, 130th, was listed as one of the 6 busiest unsafe streets with active trans. However, we didn't make any enhancements as a result of that. I was fortunate enough to participate in the Riverdale Multimodal Transportation Plan, which has been completed, and it has some excellent enhancements and suggestions. What I need help on is creating and giving some more pedestrian safety tools along 130th Street before the side path is installed and before the red line gets extended to 130th Street. So others on the call may not understand a lot of what I've rattled off, but active trans, Maggie and Julia definitely does. And those are the ones I need to reach out first to try to just, if in short term, get some jelly on getting some of these safety things started. So thank you for allowing me to explain some of those issues that I am faced with trying to connect the community outside the community. And the only way for us to connect is to do it in a safe manner so that we don't have any fatalities or incidents. And you guys on the call, you're the experts. You do a lot of bike riding and planning and things like that. And if you're able to give me any suggestions of what to do, I'd be happy to take those suggestions.
Maggie, I know the Cook County bike plan is just getting underway. I mean, is
Yeah.
separate from a Chicago plan, right? I think it's gonna, but it overlaps.
It'll include both. Yeah.
It has to get on, those have to get on their radar as well. Sorry, so one suggestion.
Yes, that's a great suggestion.
Yes, I am trying to meet up with Elizabeth Dolph. I know last week there were some sessions that they had. You know, they did a great overview of what they're planning. It is so vast. So once I get in touch with one of those administrators of that program, I'm sure they'll be able to help me connect, especially to that CalSAC trail.
Yeah, no, I think the county is a great source. And then another thing, Ms. Lucas, I'm gonna mute you real quick because I'm echoing, I think. What was I gonna say? Oh, Mike, so the last session we were in, Mike Kerr was the engineer from Christopher Burke Engineering was speaking. It was a great presentation, but Fatima was there and was asking about like some of the connections, and he offered to work with you guys on just looking at the situation there and what might be possible.
Yes, Maggie. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt. Yes, because that's what I was about to say, Ms. Lucas. You just missed the bombest, and I mean that in a good way, session by the engineer and what they put together. So, and he's, thank you for saying that. So I was kind of quiet in the background, but yes, Ms. Lucas, we got some help out here. If he's, thank you.
Fantastic. That's Mike Kerr that you were suggesting?
Yeah, and I'll email the two of you with his email. You're all connected.
And he's an engineer?
Yeah, he's the president of the engineering firm, and he is an engineer. So he's a wonderful advocate for walking and biking.
First, you got to look at his whole workshop, the whole program first. So we won't have to tell you anything. Just watch the whole.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'll be quiet now.
And before we get to you, Patrick, I wanted to get to Eberhard because he asked if he could speak.
Yes, I hope I'm okay. Keeps going in and out because we're driving and my cell phone is my hotspot. But to Dolores, maybe she should touch base with Keith Holt, who was talking about Chicago and the Cook County plan and everything. So I thought that he might be a good resource as well. And we would love to support her. You know, I mean, if we can throw in some money or anything like this that helps, that would be great. Then I had on the cars. That's a very good point, that people have been buying a lot of cars more than usual. The car dealers were doing really well, but they're all buying the wrong cars. They're all buying the cars that use twice as much energy to get them around than they could. That's a drama, because those cars are going to be around for a long time. I wanted also to say that I'm very encouraged with the county DOTs, the various counties. I was very pleased to see that they are all quite engaged, you know, that they are planning, that they are like the Forest Preserve and the DOT, they work together in Lake County. And I think that it's very encouraging, and that we can benefit from that in the future. Then I had a question for Ralph, who is writing his articles. For one, did you get a lot of good ideas? And for two, did you try to get in touch with Northwest Herald to see if they would want your column as well? And that's it.
Thank you, Eberhard. Ralph, did you hear that about?
I heard the first part about, have I gotten any good ideas this week? And one of my suggestions, Maggie, is we do this every year, because I now have a list of topics that are going to last me in the Daily Herald for several months.
Great.
I didn't hear any, I wasn't sure what the last part was about the Northwest Hospital.
Oh, no, I think it was the Northwest Herald, getting in touch with them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they are, yeah, that question came up early in the week, and Northwest Herald is a different, belongs to a different publication company than Paddock Publications, which is the Daily Herald. So they are a different entity than, if the way I got into the Daily Herald was by knowing someone, and I don't really have any contacts at the Northwest Herald. Eberhard, if you have someone you think might be willing to listen to me give a pitch, please be sure to get in touch with me.
Absolutely, I'll put that on my to-do list.
Sure, and you can use my my email for my Daily Herald column, along for the ride mail at gmail.com. So that's the email address for the column itself. So I'll put it in the chat.
Great, thank you.
I got it from your presentation.
Oh, you have, I think Eberhard has it from your presentation, Ralph. Let's see, Patrick, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
I did. Yeah, I wanted to share, Ms. Dolores. I think that you're in contact with Dave Simmons already from Ride Illinois, definitely. Just like Maggie, terrific help. There was one thing, and I think that the sessions from earlier this morning, the advocacy one and the engineering one, definitely sounds like you're going to get connected to Mike. I suspect that if his team's not doing the engineering for a project, he or Maggie or Dave can help find out who is doing the engineering or the pre-engineering, whatever phase they may be at in their engineering, and get you connected with them, so that then you're connected into the project itself. That's how we make impact. That's the way that we can impact what you're talking about. In some places we're too late, and then it's too expensive or too much trouble for somebody to do the work, but Mike can help there, I think. But the one thing that you have, and this one other thing that you mentioned, the kids who you're working with, that's one thing that not all of us have, right? If you have kids who can get organized, get vocal, and do the same thing that you're doing, try and make this happen for themselves, right? We're talking earlier about the selfishness or the non-selfishness. No, man, I'm doing this so I can ride my bike around and feel safe and have fun. But I want my kids, I want everybody, I want all of Illinois to do that too, and all of the world. But I want to have fun. So get the kids to want to have fun, and then speak up about it. If they're already doing that, That's awesome. That's what you have that too many of us don't have. Kids right behind us cheering us along and telling the people in charge, this is what we want too. They're the ones who can really help. You and I guide them, but the kids are the ones who can really get this message across.
Thank you so much. I want to lean more on them. We have, we keep you rolling ambassadors, and they're learning, but they dip in, they dip out. And when you talk about having fun, that's all they want to do is ride the bike. They it goes out the window for safety and following some rules.
Well, and that's why we got to give them a safe space like you're trying to do, right? Something on the
Yes.
side, off the road.
Yes, I've got some ideas for them. They want to ride fast. They want to almost collide with each other and do tricks. But we do have recently paved parking lot at Bobian Woods, and I'm going to create some type of a bike rodeo, a bike-a-palooza, in which they could just be contained and do some things on the bike while we still talk about safety and how to ride when we go to Major Taylor Trail and things like that. But thank you so much for the insight to know that these kids are key. And if I
They
could
are.
get them to be a little more vocal, that would be great.
I shared this during the advocacy training we had this morning, but in Bartlett, so Terry Witt, he's not on the call today, but he's been a longtime advocate, and he sent me this petition that a Girl Scout high school student started in Bartlett to get a side path to connect her to her school and help kids get to ice cream. And within 24 hours, she had over 500 people signing that petition. So like youth can be a really, really amazing, they have a powerful voice. So good
So I
point.
think, like I said earlier, too, the more users type, so not just bicycles, but remember rollerblades and scooters and razors and all these other micromobility devices that kids, college kids and high school kids are using right now before they, and they might have a bike or they might get a bike soon. But right now, they're using these things instead. So if you include them, that will get you more audience, but also get you more of these youth people that we need, and when we say it's not just for bikes, it's for everyone. And also just remember, like, bike paths maybe is one thing, but like remember your connections to and from bus stops and trains, that it's people with rolling suitcases, it's babies, prams and strollers, and it's people with canes and temporary wheelchairs and those knee wheelies now after surgeries, and then permanent wheelchairs. And anything that accepts a wheel will accept a rollerblade or a scooter or a bicycle, along with disability, temporary and permanent. And it's just, we got to get out of the main mindset of calling it bikes or wheelchair paralyzed people. We need to come up with other words that are more expansive for all types of wheeled devices, because this is where we're going to get the support. Because, now people are like, oh, yeah, I might use that for 3 months or something,
That's
And
right. That's why we call it "We Keep You Rolling."
yes, I like that. That rolling is any type of
I have
wheel.
a lot of fun with that. And I want to add on that we could cross over to include all those people that you said, the strollers, the wheelchairs, the seated e-scooters, if you will. I had the pleasure of having one. Bird let me use a seated scooter. Craziest looking thing, but yet I was rolling around in the community on it to prove a point. You can be active on anything that's rolling, and that's how we play on the company name.
But like I said, from transport, you'd be amazed at what people try to ride. Barrels over Niagara Falls, pogo stick. Like the Paris City Council in France has had to deal with a pogo stick, like a non-docked leasing idea that was proposed because they had no law about it one way or the other, and it wasn't prohibited, but it wasn't allowed. It's like pogo sticks. Okay, now that's a new one, but like people will sit or stand on anything to move. And like we've seen some really crazy stuff over the decades, right?
Yes, we have.
So I think just planning for any possibility, but anything that's non-car is a possibility, and you will maybe get some people using these things instead of buying cars. The other thing I was going to ask is, especially around your area for Riverdale, I was looking at the map right quick, but there are a lot of railroad tracks, and any place where there was old yards, there might be chances of getting abandoned railroad track, and these are excellent for bike paths.
Thank
I've got
you.
railroad maps and I'm looking here, but a lot of times if there's already an abandoned track, or if there's a closed track where the railroad company is thinking about abandoning it, but they haven't, maybe you could try to do it, because anytime railroad tracks are always private property, so they're always taxed by the taxing entity. But anytime if it's belongs to a nonprofit or to a government agency, then it's not taxable anymore. But this is why you'll see a lot of railroad companies trying to hurry up to abandon lines, and they'll try to sell them off to, or give them away or sell them to the neighbors, because they don't want to pay the property taxes on them when they're not making any money or revenue.
Yeah.
So find lines like that are on their way out, but that haven't been sold off yet. And get them for easements or purchase, and get them off the tax rolls. And that would be a way to get an easy grade with very little hills, because train tracks were, built to be easier. So,
Well,
and you
thanks
have
for
a lot
that.
of railroad tracks, so you might have a good line. And I'd have to just look a little bit closer, but I'd be happy to look at that for you.
Okay, thanks for that suggestion, but just so you know, we're noted as a train town. So they're making money on these lines, and they're not closing them down anytime soon. But that doesn't say we could look at something maybe that they haven't used. But if you're on the ground and could see what I see, it's a whole total different look.
Right.
And these railroads, they cross over into these busy streets. So nothing is really secluded like that with the railroad lines. And in analyzing where to go and how to get there safely, the two places that we really need to get to that will offer some good cycling is that Cal-Sag Trail, designed already for cycling, or for us to get to the Major Taylor Trail. Also,
Dolores,
yes.
are you when you say Riverdale 54? What? And I'm looking at the map too. That's different? You're like east of Whistler Woods, where you could get to the Major Taylor and the Cal-Sag.
Yes, more is that? Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We're
So you got
community.
water in between you and them.
Yes, yes. We have those barriers that just put a kibosh on a lot of things. We
Okay,
are,
you're on the east side of the river.
yes.
Okay.
As far east as Indiana Avenue, as east as Ellis Avenue. These are the streets that our neighborhoods are in between.
It's right next door. She's the community of the village of Riverdale. They're right next door. Everything is right next door. Actually, Indiana is, if you cross the street, you're in the village, then you in the Riverdale community.
And that's
But you have to
Indiana
cross a
Avenue.
bridge. You have to cross a bridge though, either way, to get,
So you're by, I heard 130th Street earlier, but I wasn't sure what other cross street. So Indiana Avenue and 130th Street, is that your specific area?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And is the ArcelorMittal plant, is that still open, or has it been closed?
I think it's still open. Fatima,
That's still
is it?
open. That's still open. Actually, I'm a steward at Whistler Woods.
That you?
Major Taylor, we've done work there. So that's with my connection. And if we possibly could get a trail through the back way that connect there. I don't know, since you mentioned about old trains, but the train activity is very active there. So I'm from that community where we've had to wait for trains to get to the bus, to get off the metro, and it's always stuck. You know what I'm saying? And you talked about that before, Michael, connected. That's what I said about Homewood, because I used to, work out there too at Addis, So that's my line. That's my area. We just further into, in the city, at the edge of the river.
Actually, you're supposed to get a UP line, metro line down to Dalton on the UP too. I've seen some plans for that, but
But you
so
know
that would
what?
be a route in
Let
the
me say this, excuse me, I'm sorry, but let me say this, Mike. I don't know if anybody else heard. I heard this, the Union Pacific was talking about something, it's just a blur, because it was an eagle in some area up there in the northwest area where they were supposed to cut down some trees. And I know myself and Miss Lucas most definitely advocating about our trees and, a lot of things that we need help with that particular train line. So, yeah, we need help with that communication.
And speaking of UP, Union Pacific, they run right behind my house. So, and it's very active, like
right.
like mad. But
it's very active, and as soon as they add metro trains, it's going to be even more so.
oh, is that part of the plan?
Yeah.
I got to get with them now to see what's happening behind my back.
Pacific is kind of anti-passenger overall, so it's not happening anytime soon. But there is metro plans that someday they plan on trying to open a route to Dalton, and it would use that UP track, and they would create along the way.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
That's interesting.
So maybe even as part of that, maybe there might be a future possibility of if there's going to be a station made somewhere there, then maybe as part of the platforms and approaches to platforms from the streets would be to include a bike, stroller, rolling suitcase type of pathway, because and that you might be able to get some federal train station depot funds or some state highway funds, because they might have to redo something with a road or put a pedestrian bridge in. So then you make sure that it's just wider for more people to use of different types. So, I mean, that might be a future growth or future possibility thing, but.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for some brainstorming within this group. It's always great to see that. So I see it's like almost 4. Just wanted to, we'll probably try to wrap things up soon, but did want to open it up to if anyone else had anything that they wanted to bring up or either share, have a question or call to action.
I wanted to mention if Mike could possibly hook us with the Any Train Union Pacific, because we do cross a couple of people, train rails. With that community advocacy so that we could talk to them. We've been trying, I think Ms. Lucas connected with some people, but is there a group like you just mentioned,
Well, I've got access to various people because like the U of I civil engineering is one of the tops of the civil railroad engineering of the world. And even a guy comes from Taiwan once, every fall semester to teach a rail class about infrastructure and things. So, I mean, it's world renowned. And so I've got friends there. I've taken some classes. When I used to work at Amtrak, I had to deal with railroad company people. And even when I lived and worked in Omaha at the Amtrak station, like the Union Pacific headquarters and that Harriman Dispatch Center were just across the railroad tracks. But we didn't use UP there, so I didn't get to talk to them, even though I could see the building all the time. But yeah, I can help hook up. And if anybody ever wants like railroad information from history or old maps or old rights of ways or ownership or contact people today, I can do all that. One of my aunts was a vice president at Metro as well back in the day. She's retired, but I love trains, so I've got ways to get a hold of people one way or another.
All right.
Michael, I might have to, I'll contact you after this, because we're always looking for people that have connections with railroads, because it can be a challenge just trying to figure out how to.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. All this extra stuff for me is ancillary to the railroad because we want to keep people off the tracks. I hated working when people got hit by trains at my platform or something like, that really just is a bummer of a day.
Can you share your email in the chat, Michael?
Sure.
John,
Oh yeah,
John was just asking.
Shared it in a small room, but yeah, I'm happy to share it with everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
And along those lines, if I could, Ride Illinois, we've have a good connection with their public affairs. It's one of the vice president of public affairs who got us some funding for a regional action team. So I know Patrick has already had one conversation with her, and we're going to explore, trying to make some inroads on those long-standing issues. So that could be another resource.
Yeah, because what I'm working on, like down here, we found like an abandoned railroad right away, and there's an active railroad right away, and they're parallel alongside a state highway, and there's also a pipeline going under there. So we're trying to recreate this as an entire multimodal transport corridor where we want to have the bikes and walkers, and FLIS items on the old abandoned trail, and then keep the active rail handy for a railroad museum out at Monticello, and then the highway can be used. And right now it's a 2-lane highway and it's very busy with the factory on it, but it will be expanded to 4 lanes someday. And there's already transit bus on that route as well. And it's so we want to so we're trying to propose, like, you can do a prairie preservation along with a walking trail and a railroad track and a highway, but they're all like 50 to 60 feet apart. But these are opportunities to look for, because then you can also get funding from the other things. For every crossing, you can split half with the road, half with the trail, half with the railroad well, thirds, I guess, right? To have them integrated as well, so that you only get like signals that includes all other crossings, not just the highway, or something. And all these types of things are possibilities, because we're looking at multiple ways to get more funding. And that's, even though you involve more people, it adds complexity, but you're going to have 3 crossings anyway, because you've got the highway, the railroad track, and the trail anyway. So you might as well work together and integrate them, rather than having 3 different entities trying to maintain their own crossings, stuff like that. So that's things I'm looking at. And that I work on. And like I said, we're trying to tie ours into an existing bike trail on the east side of town to Danville. But we're looking at the old history then, like, of the PPOO, the Pikes Peak Ocean Highway, to give a reason for tourism at socially distant times, especially where you're not supposed to go to a big city, but you can go to a town of 500 people or 2,000 people, and try to drive tourism to smaller areas with bikes and single car trips in the meantime, while we're going through pandemic, stuff like this. So just creative opportunities. No one ever thought about tying in this PPOO to a bike plan or to a rail route, because it will connect with Amtrak at Champaign and Springfield. And that kind of ties along with the Route 66 that other people are working on, but we're going to connect with them at Springfield. So I need some interchange with them, these types of things. But that's where, finding out that looking at a regional basis, you have to work on your first 2-mile segment. We have that identified, but you also have to work within the context of a larger thing, so that you can get more buy-in from your counselors and from the county and from the state and from even national organizations. So that's what we're trying to do. But of course, it's very big, so it's not done yet.
Always takes time. I guess, so it's a little after 4 now. Anyone else have any brief updates they wanted to share, calls to action, anything we can help you with?
Just real quick, I threw in the chat that Streamwood is working on a path and bike bridge or pedestrian. And they're looking for input. So your input would be wonderful.
Great, thanks, Mikey. Well, we can, I think you sent me an email about it too, so I can share out a link with people.
Great, thanks.
I can always put in a plug for the East Branch DuPage River Trail.
Yes, please.
Sign our petition at eastbranchtrail.org. Thanks.
They're at 5,000 signatures, and their goal is to get 20,000. So they need more signatures. So please help.
I'm going to put in a plug here for Ride of Silence. If anyone has not already hosted one, it's kind of in line with Vision Zero and getting us down to 0 fatalities and severe traffic crashes on our streets. We'd love to have every community in Illinois host a ride of silence. So whether it's through a bike shop, through a community advocacy group, reach out. Myself am the state coordinator here. So let me know if there's anything that you need for resources for organizing a ride. I know several people on this call here have already done so in their communities. So we'd love to see that mission grow. And then if you're looking to for advocacy at the national level, the National Bike Summit is coming up, and it's all virtual and it's super accessible this year. So again, there's a lobby day on March 3rd. It's a Wednesday. So at the federal level and all that stuff does trickle down to locals. So we'd love to see transportation funding at the federal level get its fair shake.
Great, thanks, Elizabeth. If someone wants to get in touch with you about the Ride of Silence, what's the best way?
I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Just a comment to the Ride of Silence. After I met Elizabeth in Washington at one of the lobby days and the whole thing, I started one here, and I just wanted to say in Crystal Lake or in McHenry County. I just wanted to say this can be very low key from a perspective of how much effort it takes to organize. The way we do it, we publish it. I let the police know. I say I don't need you. We're anywhere between 10 and 30 or 40 people, and so it really does not take more than a day to organize and then the ride.
Great. Well, I think we can wrap up. It was good to have you all here today. Nice conversation. And Dave and I will be organizing another one of these. So there'll be more opportunities to have we usually do this during lunch during the week, but we'll make sure to alert all of you when we schedule another one. And thank you all for participating in Suburban Action Week. And it wouldn't have been a fun week without you guys there. So thank you. And yeah, hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy the sun today.
Maggie, thank you for everything you've done. You've done a lot of work in the last few days in gathering everyone. So go have fun too.
Okay, yeah, I will.
Thank you everyone for all those great suggestions. Keep them coming. I'll be sending some email invites, and glad we were able to connect today.
Yeah, same. Lots of good connections.
Yes.
So, all right. Thanks, everyone.
This is really great.
See you later.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Peace.